Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling something pretty mind-bending, a concept that really pushes against how we usually think about life and time and, well, ourselves. Just imagine for a second living over 1,000 years, dying loads of times, but remembering every single life. What if your past wasn't, just stories in a book, but actual memories you could feel right now?
Yeah, it's a wild concept, and the sources we're looking at today are just extraordinary. We've got these really rich, detailed accounts, essentially the story of a man who claims exactly that he remembers all his past lives, and woven into that is the story of the woman he's loved and apparently searched for across centuries.
So our mission today really is to unpack what that means, what carrying a memory and the sources capitalize it like it's a proper noun, a thing, what that does to a soul. How does it shape love, destiny? How does it even affect conflict when lives stretch across millennia?
Exactly. We want to explore the implications. So yeah, get ready for some pretty deep reflections on memory and existence itself.
Okay, let's dive in with the main guy, Daniel. The sources describe him living more than 1,000 years, dying countless times.
Yeah.
His memory isn't just good, it's this extraordinary thing, right? A conscious record that survives every death. It's not really a skill, it's just how he is.
Right, it's fundamental to his being. And what's fascinating is how this memory, this total recall actually evolves. He says the early lives blur a bit, which makes sense, I guess. But then he adds, in every one of my infancies, the memory comes faster. So it's like an accelerating process. He gets back to himself quicker each time.
Wow. So he's lived many childhoods, reached adulthood over and over.
Yeah, and he eventually names himself Daniel. But there's this sense of detachment, too. He mentions feeling more akin to houses and trees than people because, they stick around longer. Really hints at the loneliness.
That's the heavy, this perfect memory. Does it ever feel like a burden in the sources beyond just loneliness, like never getting a fresh start?
Oh, absolutely. And that ties into what he calls his first truly indelible memory, the anchor point. It's the Antioch earthquake in 526. And straight after, there was a raid on a North African village. He describes being a very young soul back then, totally caught up in the cause, believing they were right.
Okay.
But then he sees this young girl, Sophia, come out of a burning house and bam, complete change of heart, a moment of shocking clarity about what they were doing. He calls that act his original sin.
His original sin, not in a strictly religious way maybe, but like the mistake that echoed.
Exactly. It shaped everything that came after. A core lesson, maybe.
Yeah.
From that life onwards, he says he knew I was different and had to keep his interior life to hide. He couldn't just be like everyone else.
So this hidden, continuous life.
Yeah.
How did that affect his skill set? You'd imagine he'd pick up a few things over 1,000 years.
Oh, definitely. The sources make it clear his continuous memory was like a knowledge accelerator. He masters languages, Latin, Greek, Arabic, Aramaic, Russian, German, French, and the list goes on.
Oh.
And skills, too. Carving, design, medicine like herbs and folk remedies, navigation, playing instruments, olos, panpipe, harpsichord. He's not just learning, he's accumulating, building on past mastery.
So he becomes this sort of perpetual expert.
You could say that. He was a successful trader, a merchant, accumulated a huge collection of property and currency and artifacts. He even had a cave stash for 9 lifetimes before, modern banking made things a bit easier.
A cave stash. That's incredible. It shows this long-term strategic thinking that only someone with his kind of memory could manage.
Right. It's not just recall, it's application, seeing patterns across centuries. But interestingly, for all that knowledge, he says his real superpower is his sense of smell.
Smell, really? How does that work?
He calls it a wormhole, connecting him to other parts of his life instantly. He says memories of smell didn't fade, and they stitched you instantly and fully to your other times without regard to sequence.
Without regard to sequence. So it's not chronological?
Exactly. It's like, boom, instant access to the feeling of another time, another self, completely bypassing linear memory. It's his most direct link to his whole sprawling existence.
Yeah, that's fascinating. But going back to the emotional side, this unique existence, this vast memory, what's the cost?
Well, the loneliness is profound, as we touched on, feeling like the only one on Earth. There's this amazing example where he recognizes Thomas Jefferson, but remembers him from a past life as an old man named Noah.
He knew Jefferson as someone else.
Yeah. For Daniel, it's not history, it's just memory. He knows things about people, their past selves, that they have absolutely no clue about. Imagine carrying that kind of knowledge. It's incredibly isolating. A total lack of shared reality on the deepest level.
Yeah, that profound isolation really paints a picture. But what if others do carry echoes, even if they don't have Daniel's perfect recall? This brings us to Lucy. Our sources introduce her living a seemingly normal life in Virginia around 2006-2009. But she's struggling, right, with anxiety and these terrible dreams.
Right. Dreams filled with intense imagery, chasing, burning, beating, crying. And significantly, the names Dana and Daniel keep popping up. Her friend Marnie just tells her she's overthinking this. Classic dismissal.
But clearly it's more than that for Lucy. What pushes her to explore it?
Two main things act as catalysts. First, she sees a psychic, Madame Esme, and this psychic identifies Daniel by name, talks about Sophia, and reveals details Lucy couldn't possibly know herself, like Daniel having kissed her and her running away in some past context.
Okay, that would be unsettling. What's the second thing?
Even more direct, a hypnosis session with a Dr. Rosen. Under hypnosis, Lucy's voice apparently changes completely. She starts speaking like an English girl from the past, and she gives these vivid descriptions of a yellow room in a hospital, Hastonbury Hall, Kent, England, 1919. She realizes she was there as Constance Rowe, a nurse.
Constance Rowe. And who is she nursing?
A wounded soldier named D. Weston, who, the sources make clear, was Daniel in that lifetime. So under hypnosis, she's accessing a specific past life connection to him.
Wow, so it's not just vague feelings, it's specific people, places, times.
Exactly, and it gets more concrete. Later, Lucy finds a monograph, like a written account, by Constance Rowe from that time. And get this, the details in her dreams, the terrible dreams, they perfectly matched Constance's mother's garden right down to the specific medicinal herbs mentioned in the monograph.
No way. So the dreams were literal memories surfacing.
That's how Lucy comes to see it. It's this convergence of the psychic's words, the hypnosis experience, the historical document, the dreams. It becomes undeniable for her. The past isn't past.
And Constance herself, what was her story?
A short, rather tragic one. She died young, malaria at 23, in the Belgian Congo. But the incredible thing is, she seemed to anticipate something. She made this immense effort to write a letter addressed to her future self, to Lucy, essentially, hoping it would get into the right hands and wouldn't be dismissed for its strange notions.
A letter to her future self, across
Yeah.
lifetimes.
Yeah. Constance believed she could leave herself clues, dreams, that she could somehow make myself remember. It's this incredible act of faith and willpower, trying to consciously bridge the gap between lives.
That's staggering. It introduces this idea that maybe memory isn't always passive, even for those without Daniel's total recall.
Precisely. And the sources broaden this out. They talk about how some souls might live only once, others very few times. But then there are those, like Daniel, and potentially Lucy too, who just go on and on and on. Lucy learns she's also lived many times, but her memory is, quote, just average. Nothing like Daniel's.
So different levels of recall exist within this framework.
Yes. And there's another fascinating detail. The idea that intense experiences, injuries, injustices, great loves can print yourself onto the body, even causing birthmarks that echo past life events. The body itself remembers, in a way.
Physical echoes of past lives. Okay, so this sets up the really big themes. Love, but also vengeance, right? Especially with Daniel's long search for Sophia.
Right. That search is constant. He says he loved her innocently way back in Pergamum, and I always search for her. I always remember her. His love for Lucy, who he sees as Sophia reborn, feels to him like the truer than anything I have known. It's the anchor against the tide of centuries.
But there's always a complication, isn't there? Enter the antagonist.
Indeed. Joachim, who turns out to be Daniel's brother from that very first life, the one in Antioch. And crucially, Joachim also has the memory.
The brother also remembers everything. Wow.
Yes, Daniel learns this from another character, Ben. And Joachim is dangerous. He doesn't forgive or forget, and he uses his perfect memory not for understanding, but for vendettas. Grudges held across lifetimes. And there's a key difference. Joachim apparently cannot recognize souls the way Daniel can. He remembers facts, events, but lacks that deeper intuitive connection.
That difference feels critical. Recognizing the soul versus just remembering the data. It makes Joachim's vengeance seem colder, maybe more indiscriminate.
Exactly. It's less personal, more about the remembered slight. And Daniel gets crucial insights from this character, Ben, currently living as Amida in Kolkata. Ben is described as a very old soul, maybe like Vishnu, someone who seems to contain the omniverse, just this incredibly ancient, wise presence.
Like Vishnu, contain the omniverse. What does that imply?
It suggests this immense, almost godlike perspective. Ben can truly see souls, understand their journeys. He warns Daniel specifically about Joachim's threat, but he also gives Daniel very human advice. love your girl. He stresses that love is love and Daniel needs to be loved, grounding this cosmic drama in something fundamental.
So Ben acts as a sort of spiritual guidepost, which Daniel probably needs given what Joaquin tries next, the impersonation plot.
Yeah, that's a nasty twist. Joaquin uses his detailed memory to convincingly pretend to be Daniel, and he actually manages to take Lucy away to Mexico.
How could Lucy fall for that?
Well, that's where Daniel's soul recognition ability comes in. He knows it can't really be him because he understands Lucy on a level Joaquin can't. He believes Lucy would feel Joaquin's presence as fundamentally wrong, deeply discomforting, even if the surface details matched.
A kind of soul-level unease.
Exactly. Which leads to this desperate rescue mission. Daniel races to Ixtapa, Mexico. The sources describe this tense sequence of him tracking them down, knowing Joaquin is there with her. He manages to get Lucy out of her hotel room, and it leads to this huge moment of truth between them.
By the confrontation on the floating dock, what happens there?
Lucy asks him point blank why she went with the fake Daniel, and she says heartbreakingly, "Because he told me he was you." It shows how much she wanted to believe, how desperate she was for connection, and Daniel, in response, owns his past mistakes. He confesses how he fucked it up in previous encounters, going too fast, scaring her. It's this incredibly raw moment of shared vulnerability.
Laying it all bare after centuries.
Pretty much. And then comes this discussion about dying, specifically drowning. Lucy asks about it, maybe remembering past traumas. And Daniel, drawing on his, extensive experience with death, gives this strangely comforting description. Quote, "At the worst possible moment, the most painful, darkest moment, that is when a feeling of peace and comfort will come over you."
Wow.
And instead of fighting Joaquin right then, they make this symbolic choice to swim away together, swim to China, he says. It's Lucy putting her absolute faith in him and Daniel choosing their bond over immediate confrontation.
A leap of faith, literally. But things don't just get easy after that, do they? There's another twist.
No, life finds a way. Lucy discovers she's pregnant, and this completely floors Daniel. According to the sources, he had never had a child in any of his thousands of years, any of his countless lives.
Never, after all that time.
Never. So this isn't just a surprise, it's unprecedented in his entire existence. It introduces a future he literally cannot remember or anticipate. A whole new kind of vulnerability, a new fear.
That really changes everything for him. So how does he react? What's the plan?
It forces a hard choice. He decides he has to deal with Joaquin once and for all. But he needs Lucy, and now the unborn child, to be safe. So he takes her to this remote monastery in Paro, Bhutan, a place steeped in the belief in reincarnation, where he thinks Joaquin would never dare to set foot.
A sanctuary. While he goes off to fight the centuries-old bad.
Exactly. He feels he has to destroy him before he can destroy us. It's a grim necessity, as he sees it, to protect this fragile new future.
And Lucy. Alone in Bhutan, that must be incredibly difficult.
Yeah, the sources depict her as cut off, lonely, full of fear, but clinging fiercely to Daniel's promise. "I am coming back in this life." Her prayer is simple. "I love you. I won't give up on you." It's all about faith in their connection.
And Daniel feels that connection too, even when they're apart.
Absolutely. He writes her this incredibly poignant letter from New Orleans while he's presumably hunting Joaquin. He admits he doesn't have much news, but says, "You are with me, my Lucy, and every idea, every calculation, every lust, every stumble, every triumph, and every grief."
Wow. That's more than just love. It's like shared consciousness.
It feels like it.
Yeah.
He tells her his love demands only this, that no matter what happens or how long it takes, you'll keep faith in me, you'll remember who we are, and you'll never feel despair.
He's basically asking her to hold on to their shared identity, their who we are.
Yes. And he truly believes this gives him the edge. He's convinced he'll win because, as he puts it, "I've got something to live for and he's only got vengeance. Because I can see and he can't." That ability to recognize souls, to love, is his ultimate weapon against Joaquin's blind hate.
Love as the ultimate strategic advantage.
That's the idea. And the future he envisions, if he succeeds, is surprisingly normal. He promises Lucy they can live wherever you want. They can get married, have babies. Maybe a baby or two, he says, still grappling with the idea, maybe.
Huh? Yeah, maybe a baby or two after 1,000 childless years.
Right. And crucially, get old together. For someone who has lived countless lives, the idea of simply living one life fully with her getting old, that's the ultimate prize. He says, "Nothing can be better than this life because I have you." It's about finally choosing this present, this future.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. Lifetimes compressed, the sheer weight of carrying perfect memory, love spanning centuries, this ancient feud.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey through Daniel and Lucy's story, exploring what happens when memory transcends death itself.
And it really makes you think, doesn't it? I mean, what if memory isn't totally wiped clean? What truths, what connections, what uh, patterns from past mistakes might we all be carrying, even subconsciously?
It definitely challenges our assumptions about a single life being the whole story. What shapes us in this life might have roots deeper than we imagine.
And that line from Daniel, you forget your victories, but you remember the losses. If that's true, even on some soul level, what are the enduring lessons we all carry? The things truly imprinted on us, whether we consciously remember them or not. How might thinking about that change how you approach this life, right now? Knowing every choice might echo further than you think. Something to chew on.